The collaborative society, the future of humanity. Humanity stands at the threshold of profound civilizational transformation. This transition is not the result of political will, ideological preference, or geopolitical maneuvering. It is the consequence of two fundamental forces that have shaped all of human history: the subjective power of human reason and the objective laws of social evolution. The subjective factor generates ideas, institutions, and historical events. The objective factor determines the direction in which societies must evolve. When viewed through the subjective lens, the world appears as geopolitics, competition, conflict, and the struggle for power. But when viewed through the objective laws of development, a different picture emerges. Humanity is being pushed toward a new form of social organization, one that transcends the limitations of past. The exhaustion of democracy and the end of the old paradigm. Democracy emerged as a revolutionary alternative to hereditary autocracy. It was a monumental achievement, enabling mass participation and the institutionalization of rights. Yet today, democracy is in crisis. It has been hollowed out by corruption, captured by private interests, and reduced to a mechanism for legitimizing power rather than distributing it. The symptoms are visible everywhere: declining public trust in institutions, the dominance of money over political decision-making, the inability of governments to manage global risks, and the widening gap between formal rights and real influence. These failures are not accidental. They reflect a deeper structural contradiction, a 19th century governance model attempting to manage a 21st century world. Hierarchical institutions cannot cope with the complexity, interdependence, and speed of modern society. The world is already shifting toward network structures, distributed, adaptive, and collaborative. Governance must evolve accordingly. Every major civilizational shift has required a new form of governance. Feudalism could not manage industrial society. Capitalism cannot manage a planetary, knowledge-based society. Democracy, in its current form, is structurally incapable of coordinating global interdependence. Civilizational transition and the emergence of public self-awareness. Humanity is undergoing a transformation analogous to a psychological transition in individual development, the emergence of self-awareness. Just as a child matures from dependence on parental authority to responsible autonomy, societies must evolve from political consciousness, defined by competition and external control, to public self-awareness, defined by cooperation, responsibility, and self-governance. This transition marks the movement from geopolitics to collective maturity, from external authority to internal responsibility, and from conflict-driven systems to collaborative intelligence. A collaborative society is not a utopian dream. It is the next stage of social evolution, driven by objective necessity. The only question is whether humanity will reach it through peaceful transformation or through violent collapse. The survival of the human species now depends on our ability to coordinate globally. Climate change, technological risks, resource depletion, and geopolitical instability cannot be solved by nation-states acting alone. Public self-awareness is the only mechanism capable of aligning humanity's actions with its long-term survival. The role of a global virtual think tank. Public self-awareness will crystallize when a critical mass of people understand the objective trajectory of social evolution. This requires a new paradigm, a coherent understanding of the driving forces of history, the laws of social development, and the structuring principles of future society. In practice, this means cultivating a global, distributed, virtual think tank, an open network of the most capable, ethical, and constructive minds. Wikipedia has already demonstrated the power of such distributed intelligence. It is the largest collective memory system ever created, maintained voluntarily on a planetary scale. With the right mechanisms, such networks can evolve from knowledge repositories into decision-making and problem-solving systems. Within 15 to 20 years, humanity could develop a form of collective self-consciousness, the ability to understand itself, coordinate its actions, and solve problems peacefully. The infrastructure for global collaboration already exists. What are missing is a unifying paradigm and a governance mechanism capable of transforming distributed intelligence into coordinated action. Transformations across the three subsystems of society. A collaborative society will reshape the three fundamental subsystems of human civilization: culture, economy, and governance. In the spiritual sphere, this is transportation from external control to moral self-regulation. The cultural subsystem will shift from political and legal consciousness to universal moral values grounded in the survival of humanity. Morality becomes the immune system of society. Instead of relying on external coercion, societies will cultivate internal responsibility. This is a foundation of a green society, not merely ecological sustainability, but a social ecosystem capable of self-regulation. Today, no legal system can regulate a world of 8 billion people. Only internalized moral norms, rooted in shared survival, can provide the necessary stability. In the economic sphere, this is a transition from market competition to collaborative value creation. The economic transition will be as profound as the shift from feudalism to capitalism. The collaborative economy challenges a foundational principle of capitalism: private property as a basis of value creation. In a collaborative economy, value emerges from shared benefit, not profit extraction. Knowledge becomes open and universally accessible. Resources are managed sustainably and collectively. This does not mean the abolition of all personal ownership, but the transformation of productive property into shared, networked, and purpose-driven systems. In a knowledge-based economy, the most valuable resource, information, cannot be owned in the traditional sense. Its value increases when shared. The logic of private property becomes incompatible with the logic of knowledge. In the governance, ongoing transition is from democracy to collaborocracy. Governance will evolve from representative democracy to collaborocracy, a system based on collaborative intelligence. This model mirrors the architecture of the human brain: distributed, adaptive, and self-organizing. Key transitions include: from centralized governance to self-governance, citizens become co-creators of policy. From periodic elections to continuous participation, intelligent networks enable real-time deliberation. From collective intelligence to collaborative intelligence, not just aggregating opinions, but synthesizing knowledge. The complexity of modern society requires governance systems that can learn, adapt, and coordinate at the speed of information. Hierarchical institutions cannot meet this requirement. The objective course of history. Most people believe such a transformation is impossible. They are correct if judged from within the existing paradigm. Private property has been the foundation of all societies from antiquity to capitalism. But the objective laws of development do not depend on subjective beliefs. Empires collapse not because they are conquered, but because they exhaust their internal contradictions. If limiting or transforming private property becomes necessary for the survival of the human race, then the cost is negligible compared to the alternative. Every civilizational system believes itself eternal. Everyone has collapsed when its internal contradictions became unmanageable. Capitalism is no exception. The inevitability of the collaborative society. Humanity is approaching a civilizational bifurcation. The old structures, political, economic, and cultural, are no longer capable of managing the complexity of the modern world. The collaborative society is not a utopia, but the next stage of social evolution, driven by objective necessity and enabled by the exponential growth of knowledge. Civilizational shifts are determined not by subjective logic, but by objective dialectics. When public self-awareness reaches critical mass, the transition will become irreversible. The first operational structures of a collaborative society could emerge by the second half of the 21st century. This is a society without weapons and wars, economies based on shared resources, and governance systems rooted in cooperation rather than conflict. The future of humanity depends on our ability to recognize this trajectory and consciously participate in shaping it. The collaborative society is not merely possible, it is inevitable.